How are you today?
I'm pretty good, thank you. As far as Mondays go,
Mm.
it's usually my admin and chore day around the
Yeah?
house when I've had a hectic weekend or whatever. But I'm all good. Yeah, I'm in my man cave at the moment. So
Okay. Good Monday. All right. Fair enough. Chores and admin. But other than that, everything else is feeling good.
yeah, how are you doing?
No complaints. No complaints. Busy morning. You are right now my third interview in a row, and I still have another
Cool.
one to follow. So it's a busy day,
Oh
and
wow.
well, I wouldn't normally pack interviews in that close, but because I'm not at work at the moment, it felt like a good opportunity to kind of use
Cool.
my time off to chat to people, you know? Is that a cat or a dog?
It's a cat.
Okay.
She'll settle down quickly. It's she's found her spot in my sort of little vocal sanctuary space where I've got like my little reflector there and it's all sort of cushioned and dampened for reflection and that's now her bed. So
Fair enough. I have two of
she'll
them. They're over
behave.
there. They're over there asleep at the moment, so they shouldn't bother us either. My two. So I completely understand the cat world. What right now, though, as far as the band is concerned, what right now is keeping you busy in that regard?
Um, we've released a video and single for our version of Winter Kills,
Mm.
which came out the beginning of the month. And we're preparing for the album release, which will be out on the 8th of August with the next single,
Hmm.
um, the song is called She's One of Us Now, which is a real fun, it's an original song that I asked Ashton Knight from The Awakening to collaborate with me on. So it's a duet per se,
Mm.
and we're very excited about that song. We've got a couple of more singles and videos, like proper videos, coming up over the next few months. Um, we because it's a side project, the band for me, we haven't been gigging much over the past year or so. We had our first gig in about a year, a couple of weeks ago, which
Hmm.
was I really love performing live with the guys, and then yeah, we're going to be pretty busy going forward, especially when the album's released. We've got quite a few dates around South Africa that we've booked, and looking forward to performing.
Busy, busy, busy. That is good to hear, of course, particularly as we are in
Yeah.
such the last stages of a build towards the release of the album. End of July, as we stand right now. When you look back at the year so far, obviously big things still to come. Album release to come next week. But right now, looking back at the year as a whole, are you satisfied with what you've accomplished so far?
Absolutely. Look, to be honest with you, I'll never be completely satisfied because I've been tinkering on these songs and these mixes for a while. So this release is a debut for us,
Mhm.
but it's also a long time coming. So in many ways, it is a sort of emotional release. It is a let it go kind of a situation, and listening back to the mixes, and especially as the singles are coming out and being well received, I'm very happy, very pleased with how it all turned out, you know.
I'm glad to hear that because, of course, we are talking about nine, stylized as IX, the Roman numerals, and it is out on August 8th, 2025. A huge accomplishment, and one that I hope you feel so very proud of because you can be so proud of what you've accomplished here. What does it mean for you to release this record?
Well, for me, it means that, you know, over the past couple of years, we've been releasing singles,
Hmm.
like a single at a time, with some really cool videos accompanying some of them. Um, for me, it captures a particular chapter that includes the band members recording on the songs, where prior to that it was pretty much me doing everything in studio. And I've always been a fan of being part of a band
Mm.
And I always love what individual band members bring to the performances, to to the interpretation of the song. So, in many ways, it's capturing the band more than anything else, and that for me is a sort of I would say a milestone. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, I've been tinkering with these songs for quite some time. So to finally
Mm.
have them out is something I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I'm already working on new songs, so I think the next album won't take as long. But this is a great sort of first step forward, and I'm already feeling the benefits of letting it go.
Yeah, it's such a special moment, isn't it? Particularly when it's made up of music that you've been working on for such a long period of time to
Yeah.
have it all completed. And while it's not out in the world yet, but ultimately there's nothing else you can do. It's there, it's gonna go, and it's gonna be walking on its own 2 feet soon.
Yep. Yep. There's that daunting the thing that's been sort of pulling me back in many ways. But I'm as I said, I'm very pleased with how it's turned out, the way it's been mixed, the way it's been mastered, and then the lovely collaborations that I've had. They've really turned out nice. So I'm super pleased.
Well, no, what always helps, right, is when you do start to get feedback. You mentioned Winter Kills. There's been a very positive response to that. Does that positive response to that single, does that go some ways to kind of ease your mind as how you think people might receive the full album?
Yeah, I mean, when you're hanging on to something for a while and you're brooding and you're tinkering and you're, refining and all of that, there's all this self-doubt that happens,
Mm,
and not that I have doubts in the songs per se, but just the way the timing of it, the relevance of it, all these things that play. I mean, I'm in a couple of music projects
yeah.
there's a self-imposed pressure that you put on on yourself. It's got to be perfect.
Hmm.
Um, and and so, yeah, I think the way the songs have been received so far, it's always a pleasant surprise, and it's a big relief. So I'm actually super excited. I haven't been this excited in a very long time with the release and just touring it and taking it around.
Mm.
If you hear that if you hear that bird in the background, it's an ibis in South Africa, what they're called hadida. They always seem to make the presence known in the most inopportune moments.
Fabulous. Okay, we have to go back though. We have to go back to the earliest days of this album's creation, specifically a
Sure.
vision, really, what your vision might have looked like when you first started down this path. How clear was your vision?
Um, the vision obviously started out one way in that before we became a collective, before we became
Mm,
a band, I had different ideas as to how it would be, but I wasn't enjoying the solo banner and all of that goes with it,
yeah.
I like because if I think about like my favorite artists and bands, it's usually in the sort of band realm. And I know in today's age, bands are becoming extinct in many ways,
Mm,
singer-songwriters, duos. So um, initially I was worried about the band approach because of its
hmm.
timing and everything else. But but it's developed and my dreams have sort of have adapted in many ways and have become even greater than I had originally imagined. Um, Especially with the collection of songs that are coming out in the album itself.
Mm,
They are very eclectic in styles, and even in my vocal delivery, but still very complimentary. And I think that's the key to also having the band in there is that you have the same bassist on most of the songs. You have, even though we have some electronic elements, there's still, some live drums in there. So it
Hmm.
really feels like a cohesive, almost like a movie that's been put together with different scenes, and this is just the soundtrack album to it, you know?
Hmm. When you were initially writing, I guess so you were writing really from a solo perspective, and then the band comes in and that starts to change the direction you're going in. At what point do you start to think, okay, album?
Mm. Um, I've always been an album hopeless romantic. I always liked the idea of a collection of music
Yeah.
in embodied in one kind of sort of piece, you know. Um, and I know that it's unheard of these days. It's almost like it's almost insane to even think about. I mean, we are striving to release it in vinyl.
Mm.
Um, and we've got a nice campaign going for that. But there's like all of these challenges to to go beyond digital and make something sort of tangible, and like the artwork, the visualization of instead of just hearing the music, you've got videos, and you've got pictures and something to look at and hold.
Mhm.
It's all it's all part of it for me. Like I think it's I try not to let what the trends are doing now with regards to the way albums and music are being released
Yeah.
affect the way we are, bringing something out at the end of the day. There's going to be, I suppose, in the style of music and in our performance, there's going to be a sense of nostalgia, but also the way it's all packaged and put together, there's going to be something fresh about it. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like where I'm at the moment, and I think I'm going to continue releasing albums going forward.
You're aware though that you are pushing against the tide, so to speak, and it is a bit of a
Yeah,
struggle, from all aspects, not just a creative aspect, but even from a financial aspect, right?
totally. I mean, it's only really the financial aspect, and I suppose the other aspect is the way people are consuming music,
Hmm.
and the reality of that, But I still think, I think, there still will be a return and an appreciation of the album concept.
Oh,
Um, I,
absolutely. Yeah,
I,
you're not get.
I,
Sorry, go on.
I'm sorry, I just find it too disparate and um, too fleeting. Otherwise, you're just
Mm.
consuming singles at a time. Yeah,
No,
please.
I agree. I agree. I share that outlook as well. I'm still very much enjoying albums. As you say, a single can be as a good introductory piece, as a taster. But then as a,
Yeah.
okay, this is part of a bigger picture, and perhaps there's a story to be told, even if it's not a concept, so to speak, but perhaps there's a story of a band's evolution, for example, or the
Mm,
album's evolution. Kind of want to experience that.
yeah, for sure.
Would you, when you look at the entire creative process for this record, do you
Yeah.
reflect on it in mostly a positive way, as it's quite a smooth process that you're from a writing perspective?
Yeah, you were kind of alluding to that in the previous question, and I think I didn't really answer that. Um, I the creative process
Mm.
for the Blood Honey songs have been very insular in some ways, but also collaborative. I've got a wonderful songwriting partner in LA who's been co-writing songs with me for the past couple of years,
Yeah.
and a few of the songs have made it to the album as well. And what I've been enjoying with Erin, her name's Erin Alden. She's a songwriter in LA.
Mm.
And what I've been appreciating with her, she's been helping me, first of all, finish songs, complete them, because I've got so many sort of, on file that are half made, and like these certain ideas that I haven't sort of followed through on. And then
Mm.
some of them are just, conceived from nowhere, which I've always been sort of reluctant when it comes to jamming and all that in the past. I've always been afraid of, like, the first couple of steps and doing something fresh and new. And this relationship has been really cool for me in that it's really just opened the doors of creativity and just like flowing and just
Hmm.
having fun. I mean, a lot of the a lot of the content and the lyrical themes are quite fantastical. Mostly dark, but sort of quite yeah, quite edgy and out there.
Mm.
And it's just like it's kind of like an indulgent thing for me. The the way that a little seed of the most orbist kind of theme can be developed and turned into this great, beautiful song is something that fascinates me and what I strive for. I'm always trying to do something a bit different, uh, especially in the lyrical content. But then, yeah, a lot of it has been um, here in my man cave, just me just sort of immersing myself in this scene that I'm kind of painting and then just having fun and just doing some really sort of out there things with regards to production and
Mm.
instrument choice. And when I introduce it to the band, um, uh, they are just so accommodating.
Yeah.
I love my drummer because he is probably the most easygoing, talented guys. Um, he just like takes instruction and he does it with full on love, and he plays even better than I could imagine. And so, yeah, some songs are pretty much created in the box. Some are sort of inspired by playing some arb instrument like a lap harp.
Hmm.
Um, some songs have got like no drums or bass on it, just like completely different instrumentation, like our version of the Weeping song, Nick Cave's Weeping song. Um, and it's for me, it's just been a real, almost like a childlike playtime, just
Yeah.
having fun without any inhibitions, without having any sort of conventional do's and don'ts. And that's what I'm really enjoying about the album is that these little crazy dreams have turned into something, have manifested into something that you can listen to and put on, and hopefully everybody will enjoy the journey with me.
Well, Pot, I love that you used the word dream because it's two words that came to mind for me as well. Fever dream that becomes tangible. And that's such
Yeah.
an important aspect that I think it allows people to connect to it in a different way. It is still an experience, a very unique experience. I think a lot of people can take a lot of different things from, but your experimental ways aren't to the extent that it's off-putting. Like, because experimentation can go so far to the point where it's only
Yeah.
really for you. How do you not rein it? Well, yes, I guess rein yourself. You can have an open mind and be as experimental as you want, but also at what stage do you have where you go, no, that isn't really me. That isn't really blood honey.
Um, what's crazy is that when I started off the project,
Mm.
I had these crazy ideas of it being really avant-garde, and when when we eventually started putting the songs together and recording them and workshopping them and playing them live, they didn't turn out to be as out there as, say, Tom York or Square Pusher or anything like that. It's like
Mm.
what I have in my mind, and I suppose it's all about context, really. I've been playing in a rock band in South Africa for about 29 years called
Hmm.
WONDERboom, and we're pretty much seen as a pop rock band,
Mm.
and Bloodhoney for me was going to be my sort of dark alternative experimental outlet, and in many ways it is. Like 4 minute long songs, violin with um, electro industrial beats, um, heavy dark lyrics about you know about love murders and things like that.
Mm.
And I suppose, but when you really think about it and you compare it to what's out there, it's not as extreme as I thought as it would be, you know. Um, and I think there's still for me a like I'm always sort of my big sort of driving motivation in writing is the groove
Hmm.
and the melody, and maybe counter melody and things like that. Um, and I suppose they could always go more whacked out, but I really love the way it's turned out. The songs they have this beautiful sort of blend of dark bass driven grooves with like out there violin, and of course the ever needed guitar,
Mm.
and then all the other sort of synthetic and key driven elements in between, all the bells and whistles. And then of course playing around with my voice. Usually I'm singing in a sort of high tenor. I'm known to
Yep.
be a high tenor singer with WONDERboom, and with Blood Honey, I'm embracing my sort of baritone, deeper vocal. It's not so flashy. It's more about serving the purpose and blending in with the rest of the band and telling the stories, you know.
Ultimately, you started Blood Honey because you wanted to do something different. You say you have different ideas, you have different vision, you have different creative thoughts. So that's why you start a side project like it, and it grows into
Yeah.
what we are now. We've got a band, which is fantastic here. And while the journey to this point, obviously challenging along the way, lots of difficult things, there must have been times where you were
Mm.
just having so much fun. Could you point out any particular favorite moments of the creative journey to this album's release?
Um, yeah, I think that it kind of puts when you perform it live and you don't know
Mm,
how it's going to go down, and you play song after song after song, like to do a whole show, a whole live show with all of that music, and just to see the people's responses, and has been like really really fulfilling. I think when we released the Weeping song,
hmm.
I was not expecting it to do well in local radio. I mean, we're in South Africa. Rock is like the most obsolete, um, irrelevant genre in this country. Um, like, and if, when you think about it, we're such a small demographic of people, like group within subgroup within a subgroup.
Hmm.
The big things that happen here are obviously Afro beats and amapiano, and um, maybe some singer-songwriter EDM. That's what's on the radio at the moment. But people took a serious liking to our version of the Weeping song, that it was on a number one spot in the sort of local charts for weeks, and then it became Song of the Year in 2022, I think it was.
Yes.
And I just couldn't believe that. I mean, like, was the most unexpected. I'm not expecting huge sort of reaches in South Africa, but the cool thing is that people are digging it, and I think it's going to be. I think once the album's out, we're going to have, with a little bit sort of more press and platform and spotlight. I think people are going to be very appreciative of what we're trying to do.
I hope so, because ultimately we do want people to hear it. We want to get eyes and ears on what you've created here. It's one of the hardest things to do. Do you have a
Yeah.
strategy for that side of things, the promotional side of things, to try and push it? Because you're fighting a battle like pretty much everybody is when it comes to things like social media and so on.
Yeah, look, it's not a it's definitely a something that I completely appreciate. I'm living this every day.
Mm.
Um, when you're fighting against the streams, you're fighting against the sort of followers of what's happening out there now with AI and all that stuff. It's a real thing, but my only real strategy is just using all the resources that we've got with regards to contacts in the UK and Europe and the States, creating, amazing videos. The the first two singles that are out, or recent two singles that are out, are just lyric videos that I've edited. But the plan is for the next, or the third single, to have another sort of epic video. And I think videos, people, they are, we're pretty much spoilt as a species.
Hmm.
We've been evolved so much with the way we consume music, the way we, all the different mediums and all of that. And like, if anything, my strategy is just keep reaching, obviously speaking to wonderful uh, media like yourself, and just reaching out to different audiences around the planet that way,
Hmm.
upping our social media game, um, trying to get more followers, collaborating, going on tours. I think performing live is the greatest way to promote yourself.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the basic plans for now, and then hopefully Glastonbury in 2027.
You can't. They have a fallow year next year, so you got to wait till 2027. I'm afraid.
2027. Yeah, that's what I said.
I
2027.
did. Sorry. Um,
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But always, I mean, festival season, well, it's fully underway in this country. Last couple actually
Yeah,
really on the heavier side. So it's always an
for
exciting
sure.
aspect. You're in South Africa, of course, the scene, it's limited there to a degree. But there's a big
Yeah.
wider world out there. And it's just getting your name out there. A
Yeah.
challenge, and nobody's got the correct answer, but you seem to understand at least what you need to do.
Yeah, and you know what? It's what I signed up for. It's the ever elusive, goal to have worldwide reach.
Hmm.
But it hasn't stopped me before, and I'm gonna just carry on creating and hoping. I believe a lot of it has to do with timing,
Hmm.
and if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
As you said, it's not your first rodeo. So yeah, but looking at Blood Honey, when you reflect on where Blood Honey is now compared to where it was when you first set out on this path, are
Mhm.
you proud, satisfied with its evolution, and do you think you've stayed true to what you wanted it to be?
Yeah, definitely. I feel that given the opportunity to gig a bit more,
Mhm.
I mean, we've already grown. Like, something that you can't shortcut is that chemistry within the band and performing live. And I think with the body of work that we've created now, we've got a nice launching pad. I feel like we're still in the beginning stages of Blood
Mm.
Honey, so. Um, I think that the best is yet to come. I feel like we've just started. We've definitely locked in as far as a band playing together and the chemistry that we have and performing live. And it can only get better. So I'm satisfied where we're at, and I'm more excited about where we're going.
Right, I have to remind myself several times before I talk that we are talking about a debut album here. You're not 5 or 6 albums in, of course, because it does
Yeah,
sometimes give off that vibe, but it is such early days. And I'm as excited as you are for where it's going. It's always a weird one when I'm talking to creatives, because ultimately we're here to promote and talk about a specific thing, which is now, and it
yeah,
is a record that's out on August 8th. But naturally, you have already kind of not necessarily moved on, but you're looking forward. You're creating new music that's probably really
yeah,
exciting for you. And I don't want to go too in depth with it because, of course, we want to focus on the thing we're talking about now. But I suppose, I mean,
mm,
you're excited. You're excited about what you're creating for the future, right? I'll take it.
yeah. No, very excited. A lot of the new demos are um, are really exciting for me. They're sounding really fresh, and
Mm,
I'm enjoying that process. Um, I I don't mean to put you on the spot, but have you listened to the album yet?
I have
Have
indeed.
you listened to it? All right, cool.
Yep.
I'm not gonna press you for anything else, but I just wanted to know. So. yeah, I think the release of this is for me just giving me the excuse to just carry on, and just carry on writing and releasing and touring and just being a little bit more brave and bold with decisions like going overseas and taking it further.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what comes next. But for now, August 8th, we'll get to that first, get it out there, let everybody experience it for themselves, get some
Mm.
reviews out there as well, and start to really, really see what
Mm.
people think of it. But, as you said yourself, videos to come in the future, getting out there live, getting these songs performed in that environment, and really, really letting it grow. I can't wait to see what comes next. But for now, Cito, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl. All the best. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.